I want to talk about showing up consistently with presence. It's something you referenced in the beginning, and it seems to be something that you feel strongly about. Talk to me about that concept.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it sort of starts when I work with people who, more casually, who are saying, I have this dream, I have this thing I want to do. I'm going to start preparing to do it. I'm going to go take some class. I'm going to go do these things. But it becomes this excuse to not do something. Or maybe like I can't do it perfectly. I'm not doing it right yet. I don't know how to do it correctly. And I think the advice I give myself is I'm just going to get started. I'm just going to try. And, I'm here in Medellin, Colombia. I've been learning Spanish for 2 years. I'm not very good at it. I just walk around and I speak Spanish. Even to people who are in Colombia who speak a little bit of English, I do Spanish first. I know I sound like a child. I just show up and do things incorrectly and do things wrong because it's going to be okay, and that's how I'm going to get better. I believe in 100-day challenges. I give myself 100-day challenges often. So it's I'm going to do this thing every day or mostly every day for 100 days, and the goal here is not to succeed at the thing, but to have done it for 100 days and see where that brings me, see what I learn, see what I fail at. Maybe I don't do the things anymore. I've done it with physical fitness. So especially during the pandemic, 100 burpees a day for 100 days. I've done it with social media. So I did 100 days of posting on LinkedIn. No idea what I was doing, but it got me to, just think creatively about how to express our craft, which is really cool. And most people, I think what happens is people put the goals, the results around it very strongly. And they're like, well, I want 1 million LinkedIn followers, but I don't know how to get 1 million LinkedIn followers or whatever it is. I want, 6-pack abs, but I don't know how to get that. So I'm just going to do nothing. Put that to the side. Like, okay, it's nice if we, get clients. It's nice if we have 6-pack abs, but it's more like, what's the experience like of really just diving into something in a consistent way, knowing that it's not going to be perfect, knowing that we have a lot to learn. What's that experience like? And at the end of 100 days, what do we learn? Are we going to keep doing it? Usually the answer is no. We're not going to keep doing it every day for 100 days, but we learn something about our careers, our bodies, what we're capable of. So showing up is just, it's a little different than I don't have to be perfect when I show up. I just have to metaphorically get out of the house. I just have to show up and do the thing. I might surprise myself when I do that.
I like it. A concept that I got from a book. I can't remember the book off the top of my head right now. I think because I got the concept from a summary of a book. So I didn't actually read the book, but I remember the concept, which was there was a class and they gave 2 sections of the class different challenges. One had to make the perfect pot and the other had to make as many pots as they could. And it was the group that made that where their goal was around quantity, which you could equate to consistency. The group whose goal was around quantity ended up making a better pot than the group that was purely focused on quality and was
the one perfect pot.
Was trying to master one thing, which I think is interesting. And consistency is something, I battle with, I suppose, on different levels. I think one is the shifting between being a perfectionist and optimizing for speed. I feel like I've broken the perfectionist mindset a bit, where I'm good at optimizing for speed, less good at like being super consistent. I like the 100-day challenge thing. I'm like
100-day challenge. I believe there are places where having something pristine is really important. When I go into the museum, everything's clean and the painting is blocked off and everything's just in its place. And when I worked with somebody who just did big time sales presentations, and he wanted, I come with a like, let's get it done mindset most of the time. And he came with this has to be perfect because we have to look so good right now. And so we would have a little bit of conflict, and then we'd get there because I'd go, but I have first draft, second draft, third draft, fourth draft, fifth draft, 20th draft. And now you're pretty darn close to what you need to give to your graphic designer, right? So you got to the place of polish because we did all the gritty stuff. I think about this. One of the first exercises I mentioned at Enblazes, and we have resources that are free on my LinkedIn page and on scale.enblazes.com. The data card that we use is super ugly. and it's ugly with intention. I learned this from a professor of graphic design in university, and he said, when I showed first drafts to clients of things, I would spill a little tea on it. I'd crumple the paper. We'd have the big plotter. I mean, this was 30 years ago, so they had the big thing on the big plotter and the beautiful design. And say on the way there, I just spill a little tea on it, crumple it up a little bit to let them know that this isn't about the right color. This is just about the concept. So don't worry about it too much. Like, we can tear this up. We can play with it. Now that we do that again in UX and graphic design, we call it low fidelity mockups. So the low fidelity mockups, we tend to, though it's digital, the fonts are a little scribbly, the lines aren't perfect. It's in black and white. It's this idea of like, let's just focus on the concept. Let's just get the concept right. Something about having something rough and ugly says, we're here to play. We can get our finger paints out. We're going to show up in overalls. We're here to just mess around with this thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's something about like when you put the velvet rope out and you make it glossy and perfect, people don't want to make adjustments. People don't want to ask questions. And so there's a place for the polished presentation. It is, your Super Bowl commercial, you want it to look polished and beautiful and great. The museum exhibit, the whatever, like did your mom have the one room in her house that none of the kids could go into? Like, there's a reason for that. That's okay. But you also had the room that you were allowed to play with and get messed up. You got to have that permission in some part of the process to know that, like, this is ugly. This is broken. This isn't perfect. And that's okay. I had a mentor and a boss that I worked with, and when he asked for advice, we worked on this thing as a project inside our little building all year. And then we'd bring it out to present to a greater group of advisors. And he would say, the one thing I know for certain about what we have is that things are wrong, and you're here to help me find the wrong thing. And so that's the way we play with clients. Like, we're in the foundational space, we're in the strategy space. We're not at that part of the pipeline where we need everything laminated. We're at the pre-lamination phase. And so I want you to come in your overalls and finger paint. I want you to feel okay to ask questions, rip through this stuff, take whatever I brought you and turn it upside down and tear it up and pivot to something completely new. That's the point of the work that we do and the way we do the work.
I love the one thing for certain is things are wrong and I need your help. That has like that's been tattooed into my brain. I feel like that's a really interesting way to ask for help. I normally ask for feedback. I normally say when I'm asking for feedback, I say, don't worry about offending me, blah, 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 blah. But saying things are wrong and please point them out to me is a great way of putting in some humility and just being like, please tear this apart for me.